What's going on, Swoopers? Welcome back to another episode of Swoop Luke. I'll be talking about the Copeland that went on last night, all the awards from there, Jamie Elliott, the situation with him with free agency, and a couple of other things as well. So, let's just roll that intro and jump straight into it. So I had the absolute privilege of going to the Copeland Trophy last night, and it was just an experience that I can't really compare it to anything because it was just amazing. It was just surreal, you know, seeing the players walk around and stuff like that. And because, you know, to me personally, they're larger than life. I was gonna say characters, but to me personally, they're larger than life people. You know, celebrities, if you will. But it was just, you know, from seeing him on the TV screen and seeing him playing football at the G or wherever it is, to see him, you know, a couple metres away from you, or to lock eyes, or whatever you want to talk about it's just, yeah, it was just an amazing experience. I didn't go up to any of them to ask for a photo. I was pretty shy, pretty nervous. There wasn't a lot of opportunity to, once we got in, we had about maybe 15 or 20 minutes mingling in the foyer area, you know, taking photos with the usual photographers and stuff before we were able to jump into the dinner and the trophies were underway. At the end of the night, when all the lights were turned on in the Palladium, you know, it was about maybe 11:45 or something, and there was a bunch of people talking to the Collingwood players, and I was still hanging back. I was like, nah, I don't want to go up. Anyway, I was walking around, and I saw Mason Cox by himself, and I thought, oh, sweet, you know, I'll work up. It took me 6 hours to work up some courage, so I went up to him, and I don't stand up in my videos at all, so you probably can't tell, but I'm only 5'1" and Mason Cox is 6'11", so I went up to him and, you know, when I'm talking to whoever else, you know, I'm just like, you know, my eye level was just like a little bit tilted up, but when I was talking to Mason Cox and I was like, you know, hey, you know, how are you, how was your night, I was like, I was like this, my neck couldn't be any more back than it was. Anyway, so I go, hey Mason, how are ya? And I swear to whoever you believe in, he was like this. So say he was looking this way and I'm coming from his right. So I was like, hey Mason, how are ya? And he's just like, I think he thought I was some sort of mouse or something that could speak, but I didn't get a photo with him because he was a bit reluctant, and, you know, fair enough. It was a long night, but at least I got a pretty funny story out of it. So, enough of that. Let's just jump into the Collingwood Night of Nights. So this was a very special event. So it wasn't just the AFL team that was getting their awards. It was all the teams that are under the Collingwood banner. So also there was the wheelchair football team, the VFLW team, the VFL team, and the Magpies netball team. So it was just a surreal experience to see all these players from all these different codes under the Collingwood banner, and everyone has the opportunity to pull on the black and white stripes now, which is just phenomenal. So before the big awards were announced, there was 5 other awards. The Darren Millay Memorial Trophy Award, which is awarded to the best clubman, which Jeremy Howe won it this year, and he also won the Bob Rose Award for the best player in the finals, and he really did play such a great finals campaign. He was one of the guys that helped us beat Geelong and kind of helped us get back into it against GWS, and you know, being the best clubman, I don't know him personally, but he seems like a good bloke, and I guess he deserves all the awards that he gets. The next award that was won was the Harry Collier Trophy for the best first-year player. Of course, that went to John Noble, our mid-season recruit. He came in for that huge game against West Coast, helped us win that game. He didn't play in a losing game up until that GWS game, and with the pre-season, he'll only get better, and he's becoming an asset off that half-back line. The Gordon Coventry Leading Goal Kicker Award was won by Brody Mychek with 36 goals, just ahead of DeGoey, and he even mentioned in his speech, he said, you know, thanks to Jordan DeGoey for not playing those last 7 or so games, because, you know, otherwise Jordan would have won that trophy. But congrats to Mychek, really held our forward line when we didn't have a big man. When Cox went down and when Reid went down, he was our main focal target, and he'll just get bigger and better next season. The last award was the Gavin Brown Pressure Award, which was won by his son, Callum Brown, and I bet you it's such a surreal experience for him winning his dad's award. And Callum Brown you know, he doesn't rack up a lot of disposals, but he does have a good attack on the ball, and he does bring a lot of that pressure, a lot of that forward line pressure, which is what we need. So the top 10 of the Copeland Trophy count looked like this. In 10th spot, Jordan Roughhead, magnificent first season in the black and white stripes. In 9th place, Brody Myercheck, like I said, leading goal kicker and was our main focal point when the big guys went down. In 8th place, Jeremy Howe, not much more to say about him. Great interceptor, and he's just a really round, good defender. In 7th place, my boy Tommy Phillips. You know, he had probably one of his best seasons at the club, and I can't wait to see him go to extra heights next season. And in 6th place, Steele Sidebottom, who played a different role to what he played last year, but he was still influential during games. My top 5 before going in was Brody 1st, Treloar 2nd, Pendlebury 3rd, Crisp 4th, and Howe 5th. So obviously that didn't pan out. How it went, in 5th place was Braden Maynard, who, like I said previously in a couple of other videos, he just goes under the radar, but without him, I don't think we would win as many games as we do, and he's become a rock in that defensive line. And I think next year he's going to get his game elevated to a new level. We don't have Justin Longmuir anymore to coach him, but we'll get a new defensive coach, and I can just see Maynard going that step further next year. In 4th, Adam Treloar, the leading disposal getter for the AFL in general, and yes, he wasn't that effective with the ball at times, but when he was, he could damage teams. We saw that towards the back end of the year, was one of the main cogs in how we won, 4 or 5 in a row. 3rd place, Jack Crisp, hasn't missed a game since coming from Brisbane as the steak knives deal, and he's just has to be one of the first picked in the team when Buckley and the coaches are doing their team meetings. In 2nd was our captain, Scott Pendlebury, and this was his 11th podium finish in the 13 years that he's played, and that puts him up there with the best of the best. I think this season has been one of his best for the last 3 or 4 years, and I can only see him. He's just like, I've said it before, but he's just like a red wine, and he just gets better with age. So that leaves number 1 spot for the Copeland Trophy 2019, Brodie Grundy. Back to back, and he deserves it. He just showed what it was like to be Collingwood and be side by side. He just amassed, obviously number of hit-outs and clearances, but like I've always said, like everyone says, he's not just a ruckman, he's a midfielder as well, and he's really redefining the ruckman role. Like Nick Nat did, and Grundy is just doing it better. And then he gave his speech, and it was, he's such a switched on dude, and it was pretty emotional speech and stuff like that. But then at one stage, he's like, we need to go further next year, and I can see us there, with the cup and stuff. He goes, I'll be here for 2020. And the crowd's going nuts, everyone's screaming and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, sweet dude, you're contracted for 2020, so I guess he's not getting traded this year, which I thought was a possibility. Still needs to sign that contract. But anyway, congratulations to all our winners. It was just a magnificent night, and I'm so privileged that I got the chance to be there. So now in interesting Jamie Elliott news, he was seen touring the Brisbane Lions facilities today. A couple hours after the best and fairest. He is a free agent. He could leave for nothing. We might get a compo pick. And I'm just thinking, should he stay or should he go? Ultimately, I think he will stay. I said it on Instagram before. It's like when you're buying a new car, you might have this one ideal car that you want to get. You got to check out other cars, or like houses, you want to buy a house, you got to check out other houses, see what they have to offer. I think he will stay. Apparently we've improved our 3-year offer to him, or gave him a 3-year offer. We'll find out in the next coming days. Free agency is starting to take shape now with a couple of players moving clubs, but we'll see. I think he'll stay. If he goes, I do hope for a late second rounder, because our first pick isn't until pick 36 or something. So I do hope for a late second rounder, but I think it might be a 3rd round pick. So on my Instagram, I asked the question, what else do you want me to talk about in this video? And I got a couple of responses that I will answer now for you. So let's look at them. Pat Lowe 2010 said, how was Steve-O's speech? So Steve-O gave a speech on behalf of John Noble, talking about what a great player he is. Steve-O's so well spoken, and can't wait for him to have a bigger and better year next year. Kocho the Chapani said, make a tribute to the sack. So go onto my Instagram, scroll down a little bit, and I've made like a 30 or 45 second video about Goldsack's retirement, so check that out. It's one of my favourites that I've done. Jacob Salerno asks, did you see any drunk Pies players? And everyone was actually on their best behaviour, so credit to them. I guess, if you're receiving awards and stuff, you don't want to be falling off the stage or, pissing yourself on stage. Ben McCormack, 28, extensive trade news. Unfortunately, nothing's been happening at the moment except for this Elliott thing, so there's not really much to talk about trade-wise. So thank you for sending those in. If you want to send more questions in, or, you want to talk about the Pies for a next video, hit me up at Swoop Luke, message me or interact on my story or comments, and it'd be really appreciated. Alright, so thank you so much for watching this video. Whenever news drops, I'll be making a video, even if it's a short one. And we know that, my short ones are usually 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 minutes long. I'll try and keep them shorter. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, double shackers, I'll swoop you later. And a bunch of other stuff that I haven't fucking come up with yet. Such a great finals... Not run. Such a great finals berth? No. Campaign.